Hey everyone, this is Neil with Wasted Paper here, bringing you another fountain pen review. This time we're looking at a pen from a brand I have zero familiarity with. I watched a video from St. John Pens on Instagram. You should check him out if you've never seen his page. He's always showcasing really cool things and new pens and what have you. I saw him do a tour of the California Pen Show, and he stopped at Fountain Pen Hospital's booth where they had this showcased there. I'll go into all the details about that once we have this open. Starting out with the packaging, you have a navy box with some gold foiling to say Minerva. A little history right here. This was a sub-brand of Omas, so this logo looks relatively similar to the Omas logo. You can kind of see the O here. I saw them talk about that in that video, but other than that, you really have no details on this box. Once you take the top off, underneath the pen, you have this card right here. It just says Minerva. I can't pronounce that, so I won't try. But it does tell you when the brand was established in 1934. Underneath that card, you also have a pen sleeve, which is just like a blue, I don't know if I'd call this felt, but felt-like material. And you have a certificate of authenticity and a warranty information card. Neither of these are filled out, but it does show the retailer stamp. It says Minerva. Bit surprised these aren't filled out, but this really is the only place you can buy this pen right now. They haven't released anything else. This is their first one since they are like reintroducing this brand. Straight out the box, I like how this looks a lot. And I'm actually not a fan of ebonite pens. You would only know this if you looked at all my videos and saw I don't really post any ebonite pens almost ever. But I saw this one and I thought it looked so good. In the posting, they described this material as sand and purple ebonite. I definitely see the sand aesthetic. Purple is kind of a stretch. Maybe in the darkest spots I can see purple, but this looks a lot more blue to me than it does purple. Going straight into the details, when we look at this top finial, they have something so unique here. You have a pointed metal finial, which you never see, and this has the Minerva logo, which is again those M's. It's a little hard to show with how reflective the metal is, but I don't have any pens with metal finials that are pointed. That's like a first for me. Continuing down from that, you have a very Italian clip right here. This is that rollerball clip that almost every Italian pen brand you like is going to have on them. From the little history I did find on this brand, they were produced in Italy originally, and since the new management has them, they made a post on their Facebook, and it says these pens are still proudly produced in Italy. So I'm not surprised to see this like rollerball clip on here. Big trademark of Italian companies. There's quite a bit of resistance on this clip. You're really not able to pull it forward much up here. You really do have to grab it at the bottom here. I think with time and working this, it'll probably soften, but straight out of the box, it's a pretty tough clip on here. Getting up close here, you can actually see on the band, it says Minerva. It also has a pattern cut into it, and then you have this nice like filigree kind of going around the pen. I don't know if the spots in between the shiny parts are intentionally made like that. It's almost like a straight vertical pattern right there. It reminds me almost of, I don't know if I want to say hay. I don't mean it in a negative way, but it does have some sort of grainy like texture to it. You can kind of see it on the inside of there, not on the polished parts. And right away, I'm sure you can tell there's an exposed ink window on this pen with one trim ring underneath it. For the final accents on here, you have a gold trim ring right here, and you have another pointed finial, and this back piece is actually a piston because this is a piston filler pen. I know I can't portray this properly on camera, but the spin on this is very smooth. It's nice, I like that a lot. The pen uncaps in 1 3/4 rotation. On the inside of the cap, I don't really see any liner in there, but I do see the screw or bolt or what have you that is holding this top finial into place. I almost forgot to call out on this cap too. Their logo is actually filled in blue. I don't know if that's just painted blue or if maybe this material is like peeking through because it's pretty much the exact same blue shade as this, but it might just be painted, but it does have a filled in logo, which zero companies I know are doing that nowadays. There is a slight step down right here from the ink window. The side of the window is rounded, so you're not going to really have any issues or hiccups, but just letting you know it's there. The threads on here, though, super smooth. I can tell they took the time or did something to make these a lot more smooth than you would think. I'm used to threads having just a little bit of an edge, but these are really smoothed out. I don't feel any issue at all. And the grip is definitely sizable enough that you're probably going to accommodate most hands without issue. And you have a slight flare up at the end here to keep you from falling forward onto the nib. And this is a 14 karat gold nib. It has very simple branding. You know, they have the 14 karat on the bottom. They also have the Minerva logo in the center, which feels like it's like laser engraved on there. There's a bit of texture to it. And then you just have the normal outline around the rest of it. Something they were smart about when going with a gold nib is they paired it with an ebonite feed, which again is another Italian detail that, you know, high end, or at least what you expect with Italian pens, high quality ones, is they're paired with the gold and the ebonite. And I saw this just a moment ago where they number the pen is on the bottom of the grip, which is pretty uncommon, but look at this. I got number 00 out of 25. That is so cool. So I literally got the first one off the production line. Do you know how exciting that is? Like, I wasn't even anticipating anything like that when I ordered this. I wasn't even really considering the number. But when you get 00, it's kind of crazy.
I can't believe how lucky I am.
For those curious if the pen posts, it does post. You have to put just a little bit of intent, but once it's on there, it's not going anywhere. If you're not familiar with ebonite, there is a smell that comes along with it. If you've ever been into like a tire store, it really smells a lot like that. For some people, it can be off-putting. For me, it actually brings back a childhood memory. I had a best friend growing up, and we're still friends now, but his dad worked in a like auto mechanic store and they had a ton of tires they sold. It really reminds me of that. Really, you're only gonna notice the smell if you hold the pen right up to your face, and sometimes your hands can smell like it after a lot of use. But one pro to this material is it's very grippy. So if you have a pen made out of it, you already know this, but it feels, in a sense, rubberized because it kind of is, but your pen's not going anywhere. This is something that you're gonna hold very securely. The ink I'm going to be using with this pen is called Blue Ring Octopus. This is from Andoryllium Inks. It's a pretty dark blue, and I think it'll go really well with this darker body. If you're not familiar with my channel, I use Tomoe River notebooks all the time on here. I generally buy them from Amazon. I was kind of ignorant of the fact Endless Pens sells this bigger paper pad version. It's a little hard to get the full thing on camera, but I figured I'd try it out, and this will be the first time I got to use this paper in this format. The nib writes really clean. I want to say it writes smooth, but there's a bit of feedback to it, but it's a kind that I like really welcome. In the same sense that a pencil is smooth, this is smooth. It's just a really nice experience. The feedback gives it a little bit of grip, which I personally like. I don't always want to write on glass because sometimes, to be honest, especially being left-handed, I don't always have the best control, and you can kind of see that here when I write bigger. When it comes to variation, I would say you really don't have any. I am laying down more ink, but you have basically no variation. You're buying this to get the overall writing experience here, not to be doing a bunch of like crazy special line work. Like I said already, the closest comparison I can give you is the same smoothness a pencil gives you, and coming from art, and that's what I used to do, I really like this nib. For my size comparison, I have a Lamy Safari, and normally I go with the Custom A23, but I think since we're doing Italian, I'm gonna go with a Momento Zero here. When these are side by side, the Minerva is the biggest one here. It's really because of this ink window right here. That's about the exact amount of length bigger this is than a Momento Zero. Uncapped, the Minerva is still the biggest one here. And posted now, it is still the biggest one here. I do want to call out that I am surprised this is the biggest pen here. At no point did I feel like this was big or too big of a pen. I didn't write with it posted, but I mean, just looking at this, I'm not the biggest fan of how long that becomes posted. It doesn't need it. It works completely fine unposted. If you want to do it, you could, but I think this way is really the best way to use it. When it comes to price, the Minerva retails for $395, and this pen is only available from Fountain Pen Hospital. I think the price point of $395 for a gold nib pen made in Italy is pretty accurate in what I would expect to pay, so I don't think the price is off-putting in any way. I am curious if they're going to look into, steel nib models in the future, what have you, to have more of an entry level, but for me, I'm really happy with this pen. I am not someone that likes ebonite. The colors on here look great. The only critiques I have is really this band, that underlining layer. I just don't care for how that looks. It's not a deal breaker, and if that's intentional, then it's just a design choice I don't like. So I'm not going to fault them for it. I really enjoyed this for my first impression of this company, and I hopefully will get an email response to the questions I had asked and sent them, which I'll update down in the comments below for anyone curious. If you're interested in checking out this pen brand and you listen to the stuff I said, I don't think you'll be let down because you have a much better idea of what you're going into. All that being said, thank you for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. Hit that like button, and thank you for watching. Goodbye. Another pointed finial, and this is a that shouldn't have came undone. Okay. And for my size comparison, I thought I lost my mic.